Namaste, beautiful yogis. This is going to be a Vinyasa flow class level 1, 2, focusing on shoulder stretches, hip openers, back bends, and forward bends. Let's begin at the front of our mat. Hands together in prayer over the heart. Inhale and reach with your hands all the way over your head, going into a back extension. Lift open the chest, lift through your sternum, hands over the third eye, exhale, folding forward, forward bend. Breathe into your hamstrings. Inhale, look ahead of you, flat back. And let's open the arms out and come all the way up to standing. Inhale, lift your hands over your head and reach all the way back. Hands over the third eye, over the heart. Inhale, lift, open, reach. Exhale, folding forward. Grabbing your calves, ankles, floor. Inhale, look ahead of you. And let's bring the hands on the floor and slowly step into plank. Lower down Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog, tucking the tailbone under. And back to Chaturanga. Exhale in downward facing dog. Spread your fingers wide open. And just find a comfortable place in your downward facing dog, reaping the benefits of the inversion. Allows you to decompress your spine. We're all day sitting upright, so this pose is amazing for your spine. And you can walk in place here, stretching one hamstring at a time. Great, and let's step the feet between the hands. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, flat back. Reach all the way. Over your head, over the third eye, over the lips. Over the heart. One more time, big breath in, lift and open, reaching over the head. Exhale, folding into forward bend. Inhale, look ahead of you. And let's bring the hands on the floor and step back, plank. Pull your belly in, draw your navel in towards the spine. Chaturanga, upward facing dog. Drop the shoulders away from your ears, lengthening the back of your neck. And back to Chaturanga. Exhale, downward facing dog. Shoulders are back, away from the ears. Inhale the right leg up, stack the right hip on top of your left hip. Bend your knee and drop your foot behind you and really lift through your knee here. You can draw a few circles with your knee. Just feel your hip, inner thigh. Feel all the tightness in your hip and just breathe into it. And let's switch sides. Taking the left leg up, lifting the knee. Allow your foot to drop behind you. Make sure your hands are pressing equally into the floor here. And just lift and open, breathe. And let's square the hips. And step the foot back down. Lifting the arches of the feet in downward facing dog. Look between your hands and let's step the feet between the hands, coming into a forward bend. Exhale, bow down. Inhale halfway up, open your arms out and all the way to standing. Reach over your head and over your lips and over your heart. Coming back to your center. Big breath in, lift. Back extension, exhale, forward fold. Inhale halfway up, looking ahead of you, and let's step into plank. Spread the fingers wide open the chest, drop the shoulders, pull the belly in, press the heels away from you, lower down, Chaturanga. Inhale, open your chest, upward facing dog, with the Mukha Svanasana. Back to Chaturanga and back to downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Pull the belly in and up. Gazing back at the navel. Coming into your Ujjayi breath. And let's bring the left hand in the center of the mat and the right hand across, grabbing the left ankle or the left calf, and just look underneath your shoulder and over to the other side. Exhale into this twist. And let's bring the hands back at the front. Bring your knees down on the floor and take your right hand underneath, palm facing up and across, bringing the back of your shoulder and the back of your head here on the mat, and allow the back of your shoulder to open here. This is a great shoulder opener. Really breathe into the back of your shoulder. Soften your belly and exhale further. And over to the other side, slowly glide your hand under and really try to bring the back of the shoulder down on the floor and the back of your head rather than the side of your head. The top hand can extend forward or it can be where it was on the mat. To come out of this, slowly reverse the movement, glide your hand back in and come back on all fours. Hands underneath the shoulders, chest wide open, back wide. Inhale, look up, cow, cat pose. Exhale, look towards your belly and round your back. Inhale, arching the back, open the chest, lengthen the back of your neck. Exhale, pull the belly in, draw your navel in towards the spine and round as much as you can. Inhale, open, look up. Exhale, draw the belly in and look towards your navel. And let's come back to neutral spine. Lift your hips up, coming into downward facing dog, and step your feet at the front of your mat. Exhale, bow down. Inhale. Come all the way up to standing, reaching over the head into back extension, and exhale, folding forward. Inhale. Look ahead of you, hands on the floor, stepping into plank. And let's come into side plank, left arm on the floor, right hand on the hip. You can stay here or you can reach down and grab your big toe and either straighten your leg or you can keep it bent and wide open. And let's come back to one-legged downward facing dog. Step your foot between your hands and come up, warrior one on the right side. And let's open the arms out, warrior two. Straightening the right knee, the right leg. Prepare for Trikonasana, triangle pose. Reach way ahead of you, lengthening both sides of the torso here, and lower your right hand somewhere down on the right leg, as far down as you can without compromising the alignment of your spine here. You can look ahead of you, in front of you, or up towards your hand, and keep lengthening. This is a really active pose. Great, let's bring the hands down on the floor. Lower down Chaturanga, upward facing dog, back to Chaturanga, and exhale, downward facing dog. And over to the other side, right hand on the floor, side plank. You can go into the more advanced version by grabbing your big toe and lifting. And slowly back to downward facing dog on one leg. And let's step the left foot between the hands and come up, warrior one. Extend your tailbone down and rotate your right hip in so that your hips are facing forward. And warrior two. Sink a little deeper into your warrior. Let's straighten the right leg here. Tuck your tailbone under and reach way ahead of you and lower down. Keeping the kneecaps lifted here, the arches of the feet are lifted. The hands are reaching away from each other. The feet are grabbing the mat and pulling away from each other. Lengthening the torso. Lengthening through the crown of the head. Great, and we're gonna exhale the hands here down on the floor. Back to a Vinyasa. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Optional second Chaturanga, downward facing dog. Coming back to your breath. Nice deep inhalations followed by complete exhalations. And let's take the right leg up. Look between your hands, step your right foot between your hands. Come up, warrior one. And let's open into warrior two. Sink a little deeper here. Aligning your knee with your toes. Externally rotating the left hip here. Relax your shoulders. Soften your fingers. Soften your gaze. Soften your jaw. Finding a place of strength and softness here. And let's turn the right palm up and reach up and over your head. Still lengthening the torso on both sides. And let's straighten the right leg here so both legs are straight, still reaching behind you. And draw your hands all the way on the floor on the inside of your right foot. Coming into a low lunge. Drop your left knee on the floor. Walk your left foot as far back behind you as you can. And coming out of this plank, Chaturanga, upward facing dog, back to Chaturanga, and exhaling downward facing dog. Let's take the left leg up, bring your left foot between your hands, come up, warrior one. And open into warrior two. Nice deep lunge here. Let's turn the left palm up, reach up and over, reversing the warrior here. Keep your knee bent. Lift and lengthen actively. It's an active pose. And let's straighten the left knee here. Reach a little further behind you. And let's bring the hands down on the floor into a low lunge. Hands are on the inside of the left foot. Breathe into the inner thighs, hip flexors, hamstrings. Great. Stepping back into plank, Chaturanga. Beautiful upward facing dog. Back to Chaturanga. Exhale. In a relaxing downward facing dog. Finding a place of rest here. If your alignment is perfect, you will find that downward facing dog is a place of rest, not work. And let's lift the heels off the floor, coming onto the tippy toes, and jump your feet at the front of the mat. Bend your knees, come up, chair pose. Sit a little deeper here, push your knees a little further back. Lift your belly away from your thighs as much as you can using your core muscles. And let's come all the way out of this. And back to prayer at the front of the mat. Let's bring the right foot into the left, either inner thigh or below the knee on the calf. Open your right knee all the way out to the side. Press the foot into your left leg and the left leg back into your foot. And here you can work with variations of tree pose. You can open your hands out. You can keep them over your heart. I'm closing my eyes here and experimenting with my balance. It's a lot harder to keep the balance here when your eyes are closed. And it gives you a completely new perspective of the pose. Great. Let's bring the knee into the rib cage, opening the eyes. Bring the left hand on your right side big toe, and you can straighten your foot here halfway or all the way and begin to slowly twist back, looking behind you past your right hand. And let's come back up. Squeeze your knee into your rib cage. And bring your right leg behind you. Warrior 3. Great. Now we're gonna bring the right hand on the floor and bring the left hand all the way up towards the ceiling into a revolving half moon pose. Bring both hands on the floor. Step your feet together. Exhale. Bow down. Forward bend. Inhale halfway up and all the way up. Lift. Hands over the third eye, over the lips, over the heart. And over to the other side. Right foot is on the floor, left foot comes up into the right inner thigh or right calf. Just avoid your knee joint here. And again, experiment with your tree pose. Go to the next level. Look up towards the sky. Close your eyes. Bring your hands out or up. And try to be still. And even if your balance is not all that great, try to keep your mind still. This is a test for your patience. And a beautiful place to work on your patience. Patience is a virtue that we all must strive for. Great, let's bring the knee into the rib cage. Right hand around the left big toe and twist. Look behind you. Coming back up, and let's squeeze the knee into the rib cage. Transitioning into warrior three, and let's bring the left hand on the floor. Right arm extends up. Press the left heel away from you here and lift your leg as high as you can. This Parivrita Ardha Chandrasana. And let's bring the hands down on the floor. Step your feet together. Exhale, forward bend. And let's bring the hands underneath the feet. The palms of the hands are facing up. Relax your shoulders. Let your head be heavy. You can have your knees bent here or straight, depending on your flexibility level. Using the weight of your feet to relax your hands. Slowly bring your hands back out, and let's step the feet just a little wider than hip width apart, bringing them on the edges of your mat. And exhale, stay in your forward bend here. You can clasp your hands and bring them on the base of your skull, and allow your hands to be heavy here, as if they're gliding the skin over your skull, stretching your neck gently without any pulling. Great. And let's bring the hands down on the floor and over to one ankle and over to the other ankle and back to center. Step your feet closer to each other, maybe hip width apart or a little closer, and you can thread your hands behind and grab your shin bones here. Exhale, bow down. Inhale. Look ahead of you, come up to standing, arching the back, and back to prayer. Inhale one more time, reaching over the head into a back extension and going into a forward bend. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, lift and look ahead of you, hands on the floor, stepping into plank. Chaturanga, upward facing dog. Tuck the tailbone under, lifting the front of the legs, contracting the muscles. Back to Chaturanga. Exhale, downward facing dog, lifting the tailbone as high as you can. The hips are lifting. Shoulders are away from the ears, the belly is in, the arches are lifted. And let's take the right leg up and out to the side, parallel to the floor, and lift it again, lifting your leg parallel to the floor using just the strength of your hip muscle here. Lifting 3 times and back behind you. And now we're gonna bring the foot across from the body over to the left. Try to keep your hips steady. And back to center. Over to the other side. Take the left leg up, press the heel away from you, and slowly open your left heel out to the side. And now begin to lift the leg parallel to the floor. You don't have to lift it really high, just try to lift to the side using the hip muscles. Great, and let's bring the leg back and across from your body. Here, stretching the hip. And back to center, step it back down. Inhale, right leg comes up. Exhale, step your right foot between your hands. Drop your back knee on the floor and come up into crescent, holding your knee. If you're ready, you can inhale your hands over your head and go into a back extension here, looking up or even back. And let's bring the hands back down on the floor. Lift the back knee off the floor. Left hand on the floor, right arm reaches up. Roll on the outer edges of your feet here and open your chest. You can open it even wider by bringing the hands behind you, reaching here. Breathe into your hips. And back to high lunge. Bring your hands on the floor, stepping into plank. Lower down, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Back to Chaturanga and exhale, downward facing dog. Coming back to your breath. Inhale, left leg up. Step your left foot between your hands. Drop your right knee on the floor. Crescent lunge. Bring your hands over your knee. And you can go into a back extension. You can reach with your hands over your head. Just work with your level of flexibility. And let's bring the hands down on the floor, lifting the back knee off the floor and going into a twist. Right hand is on the floor, left hand is reaching up. And you can roll on the outer edges of your feet here and open your chest as wide as you can. Open and breathe into your hips. And let's bring the hands down and step back into down dog. And step your feet at the front of the mat, coming into forward bend. Inhale, sweep your hands all the way over your head, reaching all the way back and back over your heart. And let's bring the right ankle right above the left knee. Sit back in chair, opening the right knee away from you. Here we're gonna bring the right elbow on the inside of the right foot, coming into a twist. Feel free to stay here, or if you want to experiment with an arm balance, place your hands down on the floor and lift your leg off the floor. It helps if you have a t-shirt here, so your foot doesn't glide over your skin. And reversing the movement, coming back into twisted prayer, back to center. Inhale your hands all the way over the head. Sit back, push your hips all the way back. And come up to standing. And let's go over to the other side. Bringing the left ankle right above the right knee. Sit back as far back as you can. Bring your left elbow on the inside of the left foot. Or any part of the triceps here can be placed on your foot. Make sure it's steady, your foot is steady on your upper arm. When you bring your hands down into Chaturanga alignment, then you can tap your foot off the floor or just see how far you can go with this. And try to reverse the movement. Coming back to a one-legged seated chair pose, Uttanasana. Pull your belly in, lift your arms as high as you can, bringing your chest away from your legs. And come up to standing. Coming at the front of the mat, hands over the heart. Let's shift the weight onto the right foot and take your left leg behind you, warrior three. Level your hips with the floor, open your arms out, press your heel away from you. You can reach in front of you with your hands. And let's bring both hands on the floor. For standing half splits, lifting the left foot all the way up into the air. And prepare yourself for standing half moon pose. Right hand on the floor, left arm reaching up. Relax your shoulders, lengthen your sides. Bend the right knee and step all the way back into side angle. reaching with your left hand all the way over the head. And let's place the hands down on the floor and bring the right knee on the floor, lifting the rib cage and lowering down with the rib cage lifted, pigeon. Ekapada Rajakaputasana. Try to allow yourself to follow consciously the breath. You can stay here or you can add a twist to this pose. It's a little complicated looking, but it does feel good on the shoulder. You're gonna bring the left arm underneath and across to grab your shoulder, and reach with your right arm to clasp the hands behind you, just for a breath or two. And let's come up and bend the left knee, either holding your left foot or you can bring your left foot into your inner elbow. Great. From here we're gonna bring the hands on the floor and come up into a one-legged downward facing dog. A few knee circles. Bend your knees, lift your hips as high as you can, jumping into forward bend. Inhale, sweep your hands over the head and come up. Mountain pose. Bring your hands over your heart. Let's take the right leg behind this warrior tree. Level the hips. Open the arms out. You can reach in front of you if you have a strong back. Let's bring the left hand on the floor, standing half splits. It doesn't matter how far you go here, just allow your upper body to go into a form of an inversion. And to come out of this, we're just gonna place the left hand on the floor and come into half moon on the left side. Focus on lengthening the sides of your body here. And let's step back into side angle. Sink a little deeper in this lunge. Open the arms away from each other. Open the chest. Lengthen. Elongate the spine. Reach with your hand all the way over the head. And let's bring both hands on the floor. And lower your left knee down on the floor for pigeon pose. Keeping the ribcage lifted lower down, the spine is elongated. The breath is calm and even. Bring in the inhalations and exhalations through the hip, so to speak. Really focusing on relaxing the muscles through your breath, communicating to your body through being calm and peaceful. I'm gonna do the twist shoulder opener on this side as well, threading my right arm under to grab my left shoulder, and the left elbow is gonna be as close to my rib cage as possible to clasp the hands behind me. If you don't get this, don't worry about it, you can try next time. It looks a lot more complicated than it is. Slowly come back up and let's bend the right knee. Keep your tailbone tucked under, breathe into your hip flexor. And let's bring the hands down on the floor and go into a downward facing dog one more time. A few knee circles here. step your foot back down. And lower the knees down on the floor. Slowly begin to walk your hands away from you. The hips are gonna stay right above your knees, lowering the chest down towards the floor into a form of a back bend. The main point here is to keep the hips above the knees. And let's come out of this, come into a seated pose and lay all the way down on your back. Preparing here for bridge pose. Let's bring the feet parallel to each other, outer edges of the feet parallel to each other. Press your weight into the outer and inner edges of your feet. And let's bring the elbows as close to the rib cage as possible. Lift your hands up, palms of the hands facing each other. And when you're ready, lift your hips as high as you can, keeping your knees above the ankles. Your feet are still balanced, pressing into the inner and outer corners, and you're lifting your heart up and back towards your chin. You can stay here, or if you wish to go a little deeper, you can bring your hands by your ears and lift up into wheel, Chaturanga. Lifting the hips, keeping the knees aligned. You can rock here as I'm doing, or just stay steady. You can take one leg up and then the other. To come out of this, make sure to slowly lower down one vertebra at a time. Bring the lower back first and then the tailbone down on the floor. And let's bring the knees together before we bring the knees into the chest so that we're not shocking our hip flexors. Once you feel that you've relaxed from this intense back bend, then you can bring your knees into your chest. Give yourself a hug, rocking side to side. And let's bring the right shin bone into the chest, bringing the right foot into the inner elbow or holding the right foot. Here the goal is to bring the foot in towards you and the knee away from you, so that you're bringing the shin bone as parallel to your chest as you can. And let's straighten the leg. Lower it down towards your chest and over to the other side. Bend your knee and bring your foot into your elbow or your arm. Trying to lower the foot in towards you, knee away from you, so that the shin bone is parallel. You should feel this in your hips. It's another amazing hip opener. Feel free to stay here for a longer time. Otherwise, straighten the leg, lower down, stretching the hamstrings. And let's lift both legs up and over the head to plow pose. Wiggle your elbows in towards each other, bringing the chest in towards the chin, softening the back of the throat. Bring your hands on your lower back, especially if your feet are not touching the floor behind you. If your feet are touching the floor behind you, bring the top of the feet, the nail part of your feet, on the floor. And let's go into shoulder stand with your hands on your lower back, or you can clasp your hands and bring them on the floor. slowly lower back down, bringing the knees over the ears. And again, slowly rolling out of this, one vertebra at a time. And let's scissor the legs here, bring the right leg in and change. Doing a bicycle with your legs extended here, bringing the opposite elbow to knee, and really try to keep your chest open here. Switch and bring the right elbow towards the left knee. The other leg is hovering over the ground. One more time, switch, open the chest, really move from your belly here. Try not to place tension on your neck, and let's bring the legs out and in. A few inches off the floor, and now scissor them. Keeping the lower back on the floor. And let's do a few leg lifts here. Hands on the floor by the hips, lower the legs and lift. And at the top, lift your hips off the floor. One more time, lower, lift, tailbone slightly lifts off the floor. And again, lower slowly, lift, and lift the tailbone. Try to move slowly, especially through the places where you feel the most difficulty. Those are the places you wanna go the slowest through so that you can develop the muscles there. And continue lowering and lifting the legs at a slow pace, lifting the tailbone off the floor, and the feet are lifting straight up, not over your head but up. A few more of this. And let's bend the knees, and we're gonna do a few of the toe dips here. So hands are behind the head for support, and we're dipping as if we're dipping the toes on the right side. The knees are at 90 degrees angle, and the angle remains exactly the same, so you're moving your leg as one unit here. You're really gonna feel this in your lower abs. It can get to be pretty painful if you do it for 12 reps. If you do it correctly, it should feel like a really steady, strong exercise. Even though it doesn't look very difficult, it does feel very difficult. Just try to keep the alignment and the form spot on. Great, and let's bring the soles of the feet together. Open the knees out. Supta Baddha Konasana. And let's open the legs out. Straightening the legs, hands between the legs, and lower down. Allow your shoulders to drop on the floor. The palms of the hands are opening here. Feel free to remain here for as long as you wish to, maintaining an even breath. Namaste.
Ram Rameti Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tatulyam Ramanama Varamane. caught in the storm, battered by waves. The ship of my life was blown off course by the wind of selfishness and pride. Now my breath rises within, the breath of the heart, the sweet breath, the sacred breath leads me within. The winds have died down, the water's calm. I've found a haven for my heart in the harbor of your name. Hey Rama, Hey Rama, 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 Hare Rama. Rama, Rameti, Rameti, Rame, Rame, Manorame. Sahasranam Tatulyam Ramanam Vanamini. Hey Ram. Hey Ram, Ram. Ram, Ram, Ram. Hey Ram.
Sarjaniyavan Sajaniya કરી ગયો કોરી અને ગિણતા ગિણતા गिरता गिरता घिस गई मारी आंगलियाँ रे। प्रभु जी माने प्रभु जी माने चाकर रखो जी। गमन सतप चाकर रखो जी। ओ प्रभु जी माने चाकर रखो जी, चाकर रखो जी। दर्शन पाऊं ओ दर्शन पाऊं, दर्शन पाऊं, दर्शन पाऊं, धन्य हो जाऊं, दर्शन पाऊं पम प सग पम सग पम पम प सनि म पम दर्शन पाऊं धन्य हो जाऊं सब सुख पाऊं जी ओ सब सुख पाऊं जी प्रभु जी माने चाकर रह